Hello and welcome to the Carla Knits podcast. This is a podcast about knitting, crocheting, and always all of the yarny goodness that I love. Today is Saturday, August 24th, and I'm coming to you from my home in Nebraska. A big hello and welcome to any new and returning viewers. I'm so glad that you're here. I appreciate each and every one of you. I feel like we've got quite a bit to talk about today. All of the things will be linked in the show notes down below. We do have a Ravelry group for Carla Knits, and there are a number of things that I want to touch on before we get into some knitting or some yarny goodness. So first off, the 12 skeins of Christmas mini skein swap. You need to message me by August 31st. So there are a number of you who are participating and are really excited for this. I'm excited too, so I'm really looking forward to it. But you need to let me know by August 31st, and then I will notify you with your partner or partners by mid-September. So you can message me on Ravelry if you are interested in that swap, and all of the details will be in that thread on Ravelry. We have a Labor Day hat make-along coming up. So this August has flown by. So already this coming Friday, August 30th through Monday, September 2 will be our, it's kind of maybe becoming an annual thing, but Labor Day hat make-along. We did one for Memorial Day. It's just kind of a 4-day hat challenge. Really fun. It's really low stress. I will open a thread on Ravelry, and you can share what patterns you're thinking about. If you have a favorite hat pattern, you can share your works in progress. You can share finished objects. It's really just for fun, and it's really a nice way to connect with other people over that little span of time. It just feels like a nice little group. So I'll be sharing in this episode some hats that I am looking at for that make along. Then we have something new. A viewer wrote to me and asked if this was something I might want to do, and it sounds like a lot of fun. So fall cozy swap. So what this would be is, if you're interested, again, you can let me know on Ravelry. The idea would be that you would exchange a coffee cup cozy or a mug cozy with someone. So just think all things fall, where I think everybody in the United States is ready for fall. So a cute mug cozy, cute cup cozy. You might include a couple pieces of candy, or the viewer suggested maybe a tiny mini skein. Just a cozy little fall box, and very low cost, but it's nice to make something for someone and then exchange with that person, and they've made something for you. If you have been here a while, you might remember that I swapped a Valentine themed box with Rosie, and we had so much fun doing that, and it was a lovely package to get in the mail. Just such a treat. So very, very low stress. I'm just gauging interest here. And then if there are enough people interested, we will go ahead and proceed with that. So again, it's going to be the fall cozy swap. And I will say that it is going to be for knitters and crocheters in the United States, just because of the cost of shipping to my international friends. All right, then we have our Merry Make-Along going on. This has been kind of a Christmas in July make-along, but it has gone from July 1st and will finish August 31st, which is it's 1 week from today when I'm recording. So there have been so many beautiful gifts made for other people, or festive socks made for yourself, or sweaters made that you're treating yourselves to. So I have loved looking at all of your finished objects. So I'm going to go ahead and share the most recent finishes in that Merry Make-Along. You still have a week, or when I get this up, a few days, if you are working on Christmas gifts. works in progress were welcome. So if you'd like to throw those in that Merry Make Along thread on Ravelry, you sure would be welcome to. But I'm going to share some of our Ravelry participants now. So NM Fox has the little dot socks. These are a really cute pair of socks. Cafe Bean Knits, socks for a friend. Tree Source LTD, a couple pair of socks, and I know one of those was for her daughter-in-law. Let's see, Fern Mama Makes a pair of socks, such a fun pair of socks for her sister-in-law. The Yarn Goes On finished a beautiful arboreal sweater, and that is a gift for herself, which I absolutely love. The arboreal sweater is by Jennifer Steingass, and that is definitely something that is on my radar that I have yarn for that I would love to knit sometime. Bork P has two. She has a pair of socks, and then she has the mittens, Karen double layer mittens that I showed not too long ago. So she really enjoyed those mittens, and I did too. Lovely pair of mittens. Mystery Sewer has another pair of socks this week. The Crafty Commuter has a beautiful pair of Fairy Light socks. That is a West Yorkshire Spinners colorway. BF Pascal has two finishes, a pair of socks, and then a blanket for her granddaughter, which turned out just beautiful. And then Jasmine R88 completed a pair of socks for her brother. So good job, guys. You are doing just wonderful, and I hope that you are feeling really good about getting some of those Christmas gifts completed. I would love to know, do you still have a lot of gift knitting to do? Or any of you out there, do you plan to knit or crochet for Christmas? Do you work on it throughout the year, or do you start thinking about it November and December? I always try to think about it throughout the year, and I know, like for Jeff, since I always give him a pair of socks for Christmas, I did that earlier this year, but I know I still have 2, maybe 3 pairs of socks that I would like to complete for Christmas gifts. So we'll see. They have not been started yet, but we'll see. We'll see how that works. But great job, everybody. Get those finished objects in if you're still working on them. So it goes through next Saturday, but I'll probably close it the next day or day after. All right, so that's all that's been going on with the group, all the administrative stuff that I needed to talk about at the top of the episode. And so now we will go on and get into finished objects. So I guess I should say, well, I have 3 finished objects. They are all the same. They are all dishcloths. But if you watched the last regular podcast episode, knitting, crochet, life frustrations, you all sensed, I feel, that I was very frustrated at that time. And I shared that I kind of talked to myself, and have dialogues with myself about my knitting, about my projects, but really I talked to myself about anything. And I was so happy to know that I'm not alone in that. Many of you share that same trait, that you talk to yourselves, you answer yourselves. And so I just love that. I think maybe that's just how women are wired. Maybe men too. I don't know. If you're a man watching, you can let me know about that if you talk to yourself. But it really was comforting to hear about that from you all. One viewer, Beth, asked if maybe I was a little anxious about going back to work, and she absolutely hit the nail on the head. I had not shared that on that podcast, but I have been definitely feeling some anxiety about going back to work, and I guess I will share a little bit more about that in chatter. So I had some life frustrations with our daughter Jenna, and then I had just some knitting and crocheting things that were not going well. You can watch that episode if you haven't. So it was I was kind of in a little bit of a bad place for about 4 or 5 days, but I am much better. And I know somebody also said, you know, if they're in a knitting funk, or I don't know, whatever you want to call it, they do a simple little project, like maybe knitting a dishcloth. So that's what's leading into finished objects. I decided to use the yarn that I won this summer from Back Porch Fiber Company. Hi, Laura, if you're watching. She is hosting a year-long dishcloth make-along, and the yarn that I won, here is the dishcloth, is Queensland Coastal Cotton in, oh, what colorway? Oh, something like Shark Island, maybe? And here I have 3 of them. The third one is a little bit of a scrappy one. Let me just hold one up for right now. So this is the Diagonal Dishcloth by Ananda Judkins. This is an old favorite pattern of mine. I have crocheted this many times, and I just thought, you know what, I just want some simple crocheting, and this fit the bill. And so it felt really good just to knit just to crochet these up and finish that skein of yarn and have 3 beautiful dishcloths. I think I had shared before that, well, I won the yarn, or I got the yarn in July, and it did remind me of the colors of northern Minnesota, the land, the trees, the lakes, and so it was kind of perfect. So this yarn is really special. And I really like using, I do have a dishcloth in my dishcloths upstairs with this pattern, and I really like using it. I will say it kind of stretches out to a diamond shape when it's wet, but my friend Lois has said before, the dishes don't mind. Your dishcloths don't have to be the perfect shape. Your dishes do not mind. But it's a pretty good square right now. I did have a question when I shared the hank of yarn from Brenda of Night Owl Fibers. Hi, Brenda and Rachel, if you're watching. The Queensland cotton, she had said that on her label it said don't dry. Okay, so then I looked on my label, and indeed it does say, you know, it has the dryer with the no symbol through it. And from Ravelry, when I click on that particular yarn, so Queensland Coastal Cotton, it says dry flat machine wash. So obviously with cotton, a lot of us are making dishcloths, washcloths, and so we are going to wash them and we are going to dry them. What can happen when we dry our cotton? The color will fade over time, and also the cloths will shrink. I mean, that's just the way it is. Those dishcloths or washcloths will shrink, you know, when you dry them. You want to, I mean, you want to wash your dishcloths, right? I would wash them and dry them. I'm not going to hang them to dry. People, you know, I was looking at this cotton, and people have used this cotton to make tops, you know, summer tops or garments. And in that case, when you are making a top, you know, we will treat those, you know, a little more precious. So in that case, when the yarn label says, you know, dry flat, I absolutely would do that for a top. But not for a dishcloth that is going to get, you know, lots of use. That's just going to be tossed in the dryer. So I was glad, Brenda, that you brought that up. So absolutely love this. Laura, thank you again for that beautiful skein of yarn, and I'm really excited to have those dishcloths done. Have any of you tried that pattern? I really like it. I know the other one that I really like is that corner to corner moss stitch dishcloth. So I would say those two are really my favorite now. Favorite to go to crochet dishcloths. And I wanted it to be crochet because I just I like knitted dishcloths too. I just wanted a quicker finish. That's the honest truth. So, all right. So I will go into works in progress now. And one is, I guess it's actually a half object. So I have the Rose City roller sock that I am knitting a pair of socks for my daughter-in-law Kelsey for her birthday, mid-September, September 12th. So it'll be here before we know it. And she is such a Halloween girl. And I had this fun sock set from Maker's Haven in the color of October. So I have this one sock done. I just finished this on Thursday night, and I have not cast that second sock on, but I will get going on that. I will get going on that. And I will say, you know, a lot of you encouraged me to cast on that Jack and Sally yarn that I've shown a couple times, and I still have not caked it up. I really want to, but I think I really want to make sure that I get these socks done for Kelsey. So I'm really happy with that first one. I will get the second one cast on this weekend, and I know I will feel really good when I have that done for her birthday. And then I will get to that Jack and Sally yarn. So, Rose City Rollers, free pattern by Mara Catherine Briner. So I think that turned out really cute, and I hope Kelsey will like that. All right. Then I have, let's see, the shawl that I started last time, and this was to replace a project on my Make 9 board. I had a project down, I started it, I didn't like it, I ripped it out, and so I have chosen a shawl instead. So this is The Age of Brass and The Age of Brass and Steam by Orange Flower Yarn, and I looked back, and it has been in my favorites since July of 2016. So I favorited it way back then, and I'm just now getting around to knitting it. But I have, so, you know, in the thousands, maybe 1,800 some now, or maybe still in the 1,700s of favorites. So not going to get to all of them anytime soon. But here is how the shawl is looking, and where that cute little teddy bear stitch marker is where I was last time. I'm really enjoying this knit. I don't know where I got that stitch marker, so I apologize for that, but I've had it for many years. It just seemed a perfect little stitch marker, a cozy little teddy bear on a cozy shawl. The yarn is Barocco Topaz, and this is what I have left of the first skein of yarn, and I have 2 additional skeins of yarn. I can tell you Topaz is made with 72% wool, 20% alpaca, 8% nylon. It is considered a worsted weight yarn. It is very soft. The pattern is specified for a DK weight yarn, and I think a 7 or 8 needle, using worsted, and parts of it are a heavier. It's kind of thick and thin, but parts are definitely heavier. So I went up and used am using a US 9 to knit my shawl, and I really like how it is working up right now. We are heading into a string of 99, 100 degree days, so I don't know if this is going to get worked on, at least for the first part of this week. It might be a little too warm to work on. We'll see. But if I'm inside in AC, I guess that's probably still okay. All right, so shawl. And then just one more work in progress for today. And This goes along with my sweater woes from last time. So I saw a beautiful crocheted summer sweater top on Lion Brand, and I don't know if I first saw it on Instagram, but it, I just kept looking at it and I really, really love it. And so for my birthday, Jeff gifted me a Lion Brand gift card, and I got the yarn to make the Chantilly summer top. I shared last time that I crocheted the first swatch, said a G hook, which I did, but then and it was too big, and I went back and looked at the pattern. It said G but 4.0. So some G hooks are labeled 4.25, some are labeled 4.0. So I had a 4.25, so I thought, okay, well, that, that's probably part of the problem, of course. So I ordered a G 4.0 hook from Amazon. In the meantime, I decided, well, let's see what happens if I go down to a 3.75 hook. So I swatched again, and my my gauge was a 1/4 inch too small in stitches, but then for row gauge, it was still a little too big. So I thought, how is that going to work? I thought, well, I can deal with row gauge, but I need my stitches per inch to work out. So that was 2 swatches. Then my hook came a day early, which I was so excited about. I took that project to my knitting group with me, and I started crocheting. I crocheted a couple rows and just measured the length, and it was too big. It was too big. It was almost like the size of the G 4.25 hook. So the 4.0 didn't make much of a difference. I kind of compared the hooks, and there was maybe a slight difference. So I don't know if the hook was really truly a 4.0, but at that point I was just done. I was so frustrated. I haven't crocheted that many garments. I know before I was podcasting, I had crocheted like a sweater vest, kind of with the long panels in the front that kind of cascades down, and that didn't turn out. The fabric was too stiff. I did crochet a cardigan last year, and I love that, and I have worn that. But this top just drew me in, but it was not meant to be. And then I was feeling guilty because Jeff had bought me the yarn for my birthday, and I really wanted to do this. So what I did, or what I decided to do, I really like my luminous summer tee, and I meant to bring it in here with me, but I'll insert a picture. It's the sweater that I was wearing when I met Knitting Natty, but it's made from Juniper Moon. It's Juniper Moon Farm Zooey, and so it's a linen cotton blend. I'm just jabbering on here. I should at least show the yarn first. So this yarn is Lion Brand. It's LB collection. It's cotton. Let's see. Cotton bamboo linen in the sage color. So Lion Brand collection cotton bamboo linen in the sage colorway. The luminous, I'm sorry, I'm just getting all tongue tied here. So it's the luminous summer tee by Mini Me Knit Design, which I made last year using the Juniper Moon. I really like how that one fits. I brought it along on our vacation this summer. I've worn that top really more than anything this summer. Oh, it gets hot, but it's cool enough with the summer, summer fabric. It's drapey. The pattern calls for DK weight, but this is classified as a sport weight. And actually the Juniper Moon Zooey is also a sport weight. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna try to swatch with this. So I did swatch with this, and my gauge came out good. My stitch count came out perfectly. The row gauge was not correct, but I'm used to that, so I know I have to knit more rows in the pattern. But I am on my way on this top. That was a long way to show you guys. So it's kind of bunched up on the needles right now, but here is the Luminous Summer Tee. And I have just a couple inches. I think I was at 8.5, or no, maybe I'm at 9. And so I have 2 inches to go before I split for the sleeves. And I watched the Night Owl Fibers podcast this week, and Brenda is working on a summer top in a sage green color. And she also has these hot air balloon stitch stoppers, which were from Laura. Thank you, Laura. So I thought that was so much fun that we are both kind of knitting the same color sweater and using the same exact stitch stoppers. So there is a little eyelet detail just at the neckline. So it's just a rolled neckline. And you can see the increases pretty well, but it almost adds just to the texture of the sweater. They're lifted increases, which are supposed to be invisible. I don't find them particularly invisible on this fabric, but I know I did them on my other sweater, and it should be just fine. But I'm already much happier, much happier with how this is going, and I feel good because I love the one I have. It will be so nice to have this in a different color. I have a couple, well, I at least have one like summer blouse in this color that I really love, so I'm really excited that I will have this. It feels kind of silly to be knitting on a summer top maybe at this time of year, but I was thinking, well, we're supposed to have a string of 99, 100-degree days, and into the 90s still. So I know September can still really be warm. So if I get it done, maybe I'll be able to wear it. I hope to finish it in September. So I still might get a wear or two out of it if it turns out well. Otherwise, it will be a summer top for next year. Brenda lives in Texas, so I'm sure she will probably get a lot of use out of a summer tee for many months of the year. But that is my Luminous Summer Tee. I'm sorry, I really went on way too long about that. But that sweater, the crochet top, was definitely a source of frustration for me and disappointment. So I am really happy. I thought about putting the yarn away. And I kind of affectionately sort of called that sweater the sweater that shall not be named. And I thought maybe I should put the yarn away, but I was like, you know what? I really want to use it because it was a gift from Jeff. And I thought, this sweater top, I really think I will enjoy. So that is it for my works in progress. I am trying to limit my works in progress. I really did wrestle with casting on that Jack and Sally yarn, but things have been really hectic, and if I know myself, if I have too many whips and I'm not making enough progress on any of them, that will cause me anxiety. So I think I just want to finish, get Kelsey's other sock cast on and get that finished. Let's see. Let's see. I do want to share, since we have the hat make-along coming up, I do want to share a couple patterns that I am looking at. So I have a lot of fingering weight yarn leftovers, used for socks, use fingering weight for shawls, and you know, I've been knitting not as long as some of you, but I have been a pretty serious knitter since about 2013, 14 when I started. I kind of just went in both feet and just jumped in and haven't looked back. So I have quite a bit of fingering weight leftovers. I'm going to insert a picture of my drawer that has some in there, and then there's a box that has some in there. And then I have three additional bags not shown that have quite a bit of fingering weight yarn leftovers. So I thought it might be fun to do a scrappy hat or a marled hat. So the patterns that I'm going to share use your leftovers. So the LOSY hat is by Barb Engel King and uses 2 strands of fingering weight yarn. And M's Little Nest, hello, she has made several of these and posted in the Merry Make Along. So a great hat to use up those fingering weight yarns, and it's a free pattern. The Scrappy Marl by Beata Jezik, that is the yarn dyer behind Hedgehog Fibers. So it's also another scrappy marled hat, which uses 2 strands of fingering weight, just different, a little different than the first one. And it's also free. Then using 2 strands of DK is the Scrappy Plied 2-Night Strand by Corrado Lark. So uses 2 strands of DK. So I do have a drawer with DK leftovers as well. So I'm like, maybe I could do that too. And then the Scrappy Hat by Danielle Camus uses 3 strands of fingering weight, and that is a paid for pattern on Ravelry. So some fun scrappy hats. If you have a favorite hat pattern that you'd like to share, I would love to hear about that. It doesn't have to be a scrappy one. This is just what I'm thinking. And the reason I'm kind of thinking scrappy is I have a lot of bright fingering weight yarns, and none of my projects right now are really bright. I wouldn't call them necessarily Carla colors. And so I think I'm craving some brightness. And so I thought, well, maybe that would be good to go with those bright scraps and try to create something. So we'll see. But if you have a favorite hat pattern that you'd like to share, that would be great. If you are participating or planning to participate, have you thought about what hat you would like to make? You can certainly share that down below. So just a little bit of chatter. I should say Jenna is settling in more to sorority life. The last 2 weeks have been very, very long weeks for her. She's had long days, you know, sometimes starting at 7 or 8 in the morning and going till 10, 11 at night. So she she is definitely tired, but her classes will start this week. And Jeff and I start back to school this week also. So if you're new here, my husband and I both teach at our local college in town. So it's great. It's a 5-minute commute. It's wonderful. But I teach piano there. I teach beginning class piano. So I have a classroom with 8 pianos or 8 keyboards. So I can have up to 8 students at a time. I will teach 3 different sections of that class, and then I have 15 private students at college. In addition to that, I also teach for our church's school, so elementary through 8th grade, and I have 16 private students there. So my days, starting this Monday, I will be very, very busy. This will be one of the busiest years that I have ever had. I have always worked part-time since having children, and I know I don't have children at home anymore, but I guess I've always had time to, do things around the house, or, my knitting, my crocheting, practicing, because I also play the organ once a month. So this is definitely going to be a busy time. This will be a transition. So I do definitely have some anxiety about that. I talked to my mom today. Hi, Mom. And she's like, I hope you have time for your knitting. And I'm like, I hope so too, but I have to be knitting, because that's what makes me so happy. That's what will, hopefully now that my projects are in a better place, they won't cause me problems, but I'll just be able to, come home, or, sit in the evenings and enjoy my knitting. I would say almost always I will have a sock project with me that I will throw in my bag for college, or throw in my elementary school bag, just in case, a student doesn't show up, which is more likely at the college, but sometimes at the elementary school if a parent forgets if their kid is sick. So I always have my knitting with me just in case. And, those little moments, a few stitches here, a few stitches there, definitely add up. And so, that's a good way to work on your projects too. So I think I have covered everything. Again, thank you to those who wrote on the last podcast, encouraging me. I definitely appreciate that. And I really appreciate every single one of you who watched the question and answer video with Jeff. We had so much fun doing that. We laughed about it, and I thank you for all of your comments, and for being so sweet about Jeff too. We both enjoyed it so much. So thank you. If you got this far, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to this channel. Love to hear what you're working on. Love to hear about your hat patterns down below. So with that, I will say goodbye, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.